The first thing you learn about fire is that it doesn't burn the way people think. It breathes. And when I'm wedged halfway up a flue, no wider than a coffin stood upright, knees scraping brick, elbows bleeding. And the lady downstairs decides to light her morning coal. Just a touch early fire doesn't roar. It inhales. The chimney pulls. The air changes. The soot shifts like it's alive. And I realize quite calmly that I might be cooked before breakfast. That's how my Tuesday begins. You'd think dying in a chimney would be dramatic smoke pouring out, frantic shouting, heroic rescue. No, it's quieter than that. It's coughing into a darkness so thick you can taste yesterday's dinners baked into the walls. Goose fat, tallow, coal tar. The entire empire reduced to black powder. I breathe in Britain. The flue tightens above me. I turn my shoulders sideways, press my cheek to brick slick with creosote, and wriggle upward like something the city is trying to swallow and spit back out polished. If I panic, I wedge. If I wedge, I die. Simple mathematics. Victorian education at its finest. My name doesn't matter much. Boys like me rarely kept them long enough for records. What matters is that I am 8 years old, though I tell customers I am 10. 8 sounds fragile, 10 sounds profitable. They call me a climbing boy. Officially, I'm part of London's great improvement, the industrial age, progress, steam engines, factories, empire. Unofficially, I am a flexible cleaning instrument with ribs. Most chimneys in London are built narrow on purpose twisting flues. Sharp bends, brick corridors, no grown man could navigate. Which is excellent news if you're a homeowner who enjoys warmth. And catastrophic news if you're a child small enough to be considered a maintenance solution. My master bought me 3 years ago. 5 guineas. That's cheaper than a decent horse and more expensive than a broken one. He apprenticed me, which is a polite word for owns my future. Sleep in the soot cellar with the brushes and the sacks. My skin is permanently the color of old ink. When I sweat, I make paste. Fun fact, you can tell a climbing boy by his knees. They're bald. Not metaphorically. The skin wears off from scraping brick. Victorian dermatology was very hands-on. By the time I reach the bend in the flue, the smoke has thickened. The lady below coughs delicately. She has porcelain skin and a parlor clock from Birmingham. She will later complain about smudges on her mantle. I, meanwhile, am debating whether my lungs will forgive me. Here's the trick they don't mention in the cheerful street songs. Chimneys aren't just vertical tunnels. They narrow where builders save brick. They kink where fireplaces stack through multiple floors. Some run at angles so tight you must climb sideways, pressing back against one wall and feet against the other. Imagine being hugged by a brick oven that resents you. Now imagine it breathing fire. I shove upward, scraping, pushing, praying not to God exactly, more to friction. My hands find the last ridge. I burst through the top into cold London air, black dust exploding around me like a very unimpressive angelic arrival. Below, the city stretches in soot-colored waves. Factory stacks cough smoke. The Thames crawls brown and thick. Church spires stab upward, as if trying to escape what we built. Industrial birth, they call it. Birth is messy, yes. But at least babies get applause. I lower the rope, drag up my scraper, and begin knocking soot loose. It falls in soft avalanches down into the hearth below. That soot will be bagged and sold. Farmers use it for fertilizer. Brickmakers use it for pigment. Even waste has a market in London. I like that. It means I'm not entirely useless. Just mostly. By noon, I've cleaned 3 flues and swallowed enough carbon to qualify as a minor railway. People assume the worst part is the darkness. It isn't. It's the silence. Inside a chimney, the world shrinks to brick inches from your face. You hear your own heartbeat echo. You feel the structure of a house from inside its bones. You understand how thin walls really are between warmth and suffocation, and you learn something else. London is terrified of fire. After the Great Fire of 1666, chimneys were redesigned taller and narrower to reduce sparks. which
Fellow
wonderfully
citizens,
created an
hear the
entire
truth.
profession
These
requiring
pamphlets
children
speak
to
of a
risk
better way,
asphyxiation
a path
daily.
to reform for all.
Progress again. There are laws, of course. There are always laws. In 1788, Parliament tried limiting apprenticeships to boys over 8. A comforting regulation if you ignore that over 8 still fits inside a chimney. Later acts attempted to require mechanical brushes instead of children. Masters protested. Brushes couldn't navigate the bends as well as small, underfed humans. Technology may replace us someday, but not yet. When I climb down from that morning's Nero sting, my master cuffs me for taking too long. Efficiency is everything. Soot waits for no boy. We move to a grander house near Mayfair. This one has 4 fireplaces. The lady here offers me a crust of bread if I smile. I try. It cracks the soot on my cheeks. She laughs. Victorian charity is a curious performance. Feed the child. Feel virtuous. Avoid asking why the child is black with chimney tar. By afternoon, my chest burns. A cough claws upward. I swallow it down because coughing in a narrow flue is like testing how much oxygen you actually have left. Let me tell you something no pamphlet does. Chimney sweeps do not usually die dramatically. We suffocate. Or we develop cancers of the scrotum knees. It's truly first identified by surgeon Percival Pott in 1775. Soot lodges in skin folds. Years later, tumors bloom like horrible little secrets. The first industrial cancer. Empire leaves marks. I won't live long enough to see the worst of that. Few of us do. But I feel something, already tightness in my chest, that doesn't leave even when I'm in open air. By evening, we return to the cellar. I scrub in cold water that turns black instantly. My master counts coins upstairs. I count ribs. You might wonder why we don't run. Some do. But London is large, and hunger is larger. Factories want hands strong enough for machines. Minds want bodies small enough for tunnels. The city is an organism always in need of smaller replacements. If I leave the chimney, I'll simply be inserted somewhere else. At night, lying beside sacks of soot, I think about the houses I've climbed through. I know their insides better than their owners. I know which bricks crumble, which flues are patched poorly, which beams creak under stress. I know something else too. These grand homes are cleaner because I am not. Their air is clear because mine is not. Their warmth is safe because my skin absorbs the risk. That's the exchange no one sings about. And tomorrow, I will climb again. Not because I am brave, because I fit. They say the law finally saved us. In 1840, Parliament banned the use of climbing boys. In 1864, they tried again, this time with actual teeth. Inspectors, fines, prison, mechanical brushes improved. Public opinion shifted. Middle-class guilt became fashionable. Funny how morality matures once machinery does. By then, I am 12. Ancient by sweep standards. My cough no longer waits for chimneys. It walks beside me. Nights are the worst. I lie awake listening to my lungs rattle like loose coal in a scuttle. My master says it builds character. I suspect it builds graves. Here's the part no one tells you. When the reforms come, they don't rescue us in a parade. They just make us unnecessary. 1 week, I am essential to London's safety. The next, I am excess soot. Masters adapt quickly. Some switch to brushes, some are fined. Some continue quietly. Enforcement is uneven. Poverty is consistent. I try factory work. The machines are louder than chimneys, but less intimate. They do not hug you to death. They simply threaten to remove fingers with bureaucratic efficiency. I last 3 months. The cough worsens. A doctor once examines me as a curiosity, lifts my chin, taps my chest, says something about industrial conditions as if I am weather damage. He writes notes. Progress loves statistics. One evening, walking past a row of townhouses I used to climb, I see a boy pushing a modern sweeping brush up a flue from the fireplace below. No child vanishes into the dark. No small knees scraping brick. Just rods clicking together, soot falling obediently. It is safer. It is right. And it arrives exactly one childhood too late. I don't hate London. That would require energy. I understand it. Cities are hungry. Industry is impatient. Empires are built on things that fit into tight spaces: coal, steel, children. You will never know my name. Most records didn't bother. But you will breathe easier because someone like me once didn't. When you see clean brick, polished hearth, warm fire on a winter night, do you remember this? Before machines reached where hands could not, we did. And the soot did not wash off. Not really. That is the true cost of progress. Not smoke in the sky, smoke in the lungs. Now you know what warmed Victorian London? It wasn't just coal.